All right. Thank you very much. It's good to see everybody again. Yeah, you can't get rid of me just because I changed jobs. I used to be the multicultural liaison at the library, but now I am a district family and community engagement liaison. I can't get rid of that liaison title. Thank you, Michael. So what I've learned being at the schools is kind of like the military in that they love their acronyms just as much as the military. So if you ever hear anybody talk about FACE in the school system, it's family and community engagement. So I'm a FACE liaison. I am going to share my, yeah. I'm going to share my screen. I've got a little presentation I'm going to give here because there are a lot of questions and a lot of information being put out by the schools. Anybody who is connected to the schools, you probably got an email from the superintendent with all the information about what we've been working on to get our kids and families back into the schools safely. So to break that down, I'm just going to kind of give a little presentation about the 5 questions about the new school year. One of the things, again, we love our acronyms. One of the things you'll hear our teachers and administration talking about is 2DL. We're kind of coming back virtually, of course. I'm sure you've heard Fayette County Public Schools, at least for the first 6 weeks, is going to be virtual. And we're not calling it NTI. We're calling it 2DL this time. NTI reimagined. Hang on, I've got to move my pictures here so I can read my screen. So 2DL stands for differentiated distance learning. And differentiated in the world of education means teaching and sharing information in different ways so that we can meet the needs of students as individuals, because we know not every student learns the same way. So teachers are going to be prepared to share their information in ways that they can reach more students, but in a virtual manner. And we have had administrators, teachers, students, and parents coming together since May to talk about how we can improve NTI and make it this 2DL initiative so that it's a little easier on our students. And this week, all of our teachers have come back and started their professional learning. There's going to be a common digital platform across the district, as well as master schedules that are going to be shared so that families know a little better this time what to expect from virtual learning. And what are these platforms going to be? This year, Fayette County is going to be fully one-to-one, and that means every student will have a Chromebook. And something that people don't know, yes, we know it's an equity issue of, well, you may have the Chromebook, but what if you don't have access to the internet, right? That's always a question. We are giving out hotspots for any family who needs one. And the way that students can get those, if they do not have reliable internet access, families can contact the Family Resource Center coordinator of their school or the Youth Service Center coordinators. Those are the coordinators in our middle and high schools. They're called Youth Service Center coordinators. You can contact them to get a hotspot for your home. And those hotspots will work if you have multiple students. They'll work for all the Chromebooks in your home. For elementary school students, our teachers will be using Google Classroom. to post all their instruction materials, all their assignments. And then middle and high school students are going to use Canvas this semester. And we are working on having tutorials available. If you go to the FCPS website, which is fcps.net, there's a tab on the left-hand side. There's one that says NTI, and under that it says back to school. So that's where you can find information about the technology being used. And there are some short tutorial videos and worksheets there for families who need help getting on those platforms. We also have a technology hotline you can call to talk to someone in person to help you walk through it. And there are bilingual staff in our technology department. So people who need help in other languages can get that help. And anybody, if you guys have any questions at any time, please stop me and we will, I will address those. Just you don't have to, you know, raise your hand or anything. Just hop in. We do know Superintendent Kalk has said flexibility is a must at this time. And so we are going to continuously reassess when maybe we could go back in person. And so they've set up some different windows of time to say, hey, you know, let's look at information from the local and state health officials about our cases to see, is this a safe time to bring our students back? Because student safety and the safety of our staff is paramount. So we have the windows here, week of September 28th to October 2nd, which is right around our fall break. November 2nd, that week, winter break, week of February 8th to 12th, and then spring break. Hopefully, you know, we won't need some of these windows, but we, you know, that's not up to Fayette County Public Schools. So that is in our plan. We will reassess every 6 weeks. 4, where can I get school supplies? Of course, even though we're at home, students still need school supplies, still got to have those glue sticks and, you know, scissors, things like that to do some of these assignments. I actually checked this morning, and sadly the back to school, well, maybe not sadly, but all the back to school rally spots are full already. People had to pre-register this year just to keep it safe. But they did pivot and do drive-through back-to-school rallies, and they've been working on that plan for a long time. Miranda, my supervisor in our office, was helping to plan those. So those are all booked, but you can always get in touch with your Family Resource Center coordinator and your Youth Service Center coordinator because we do have supplies going to those folks. So anyone in need of supplies can always contact their school and we will get those to you. And then the last point of my presentation, how can I stay engaged and connected to the schools? Our office, when I started, I thought, well, my job, and I started on April 6th, so right in the middle of all this. I thought, how in the world are we going to stay engaged and connected with families? That is my job. Well, we have pivoted and gone virtual as well. We started a show called Face It or Enfrentalo. We have an English version at 6:30 on Thursdays, and at 7 p.m. on Thursdays, we have a version in Spanish, Enfrentalo, where we have been talking about the various issues facing families during this time. We have talked about mental health. We have talked about summer learning. We have talked about summer fun. So, and we started back in, I think May was one of our first shows. And we're gonna keep going through this school year. You can see our schedule down at the bottom here. This week, we are talking about what to expect from instruction during virtual learning. And one thing I will touch on is that students K through 8 will be using our Imagine Learning service that we signed up for. And that was something that was available to families during the summer as well. It was really targeted to students who may have needed that extra help. And it was open to all the schools who wanted to participate. And as we transition into our virtual learning through the school year, that's a platform that's going to be available to everybody. And then our high school students, and I think some middle school teachers as well, are going to be using our Odysseyware program, which is something that's been used before, so it's not going to be brand new, but those will be used to supplement the regular curriculum for middle and high school. But we'll be talking with our district curriculum specialists this week at 6:30 and 7 to talk about what parents can expect. And we're also going to be talking to someone from our technology department about the different platforms we'll be using. So we'll walk through that with families so they know what to expect. The week after that, we're going to talk to people from student support. So that means our mental health specialists will be talking about how families, if you're stressed out, if you notice your kids are really anxious, what are some tools or people that you can connect to? All that's we're still supporting our students through all this. We have not stopped. So we're going to talk to some folks from that department. And then we're going to take a break for a couple weeks because we know first week of school, people are focused, on their kids, on their students. And then Labor Day is the week after that. So we're going to take a little Labor Day break. And then we're going to resume with bi-weekly recordings for the beginning of the school year. Because again, we know people are going to be busy with their schoolwork. So any questions out there? I should probably tell you where you can find our show. I didn't do that. We are actually on Facebook, and you can see on the screen there, it says Facebook. But our show is on Facebook. We typically go live at 6:30 and 7 o'clock on Thursdays. So if you have any questions, you can put them in our comment section. And we're always open to questions at our email that you can see there, and you can text us questions at that number.
How was the response from the parents from the show or everything in general?
Oh, it's been really positive. We've had people, especially when Victor helped spread the word on Radio Lex, we had a parent reach out to us to say, hey, I've had a hard time getting in touch with my school. Can you help me out? So that was a really good connection that we made there. But yeah, I think parents have been really appreciative. And, we've tried to be a bright spot too. We try to end our shows on a positive note every week to say, we're all in this together. On a personal note, I will say pretty much every show that we've had, I have ended up tearing up talking to people, just realizing how everybody's trying to find the silver lining. The next couple weeks coming up, they're really informative shows. They're heavy on information from the schools because that's what our families want to hear right now. What can I expect from the beginning of the year? But for the most part, we really try to bring in a family voice. We want to hear from our families. And so a lot of our other weeks, we have invited guests onto the show to talk about how they've been weathering the storm at home.
For public health.
And
I work with the HIV/AIDS section.
How they've been weathering the storm at home. And it's been really inspirational to hear from a lot of these families.
Isabel, if you were trying to talk, you're muted.
I thought I had just unmuted. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, Wendy. My question was, how are you managing all the other languages to connect with parents who,
Right.
you know, speak Kinyarwandan or Swahili or Arabic?
Yeah. Sadly, in our office, we do not have somebody who can do the show in that language. But as you know, we've got our translation and interpretation department, and we're always connecting with them to get information out to people in other languages. I've actually got a meeting tomorrow to talk about how we can better connect with our Congolese community and get information out to them. So hopefully we will be making those better connections as we move forward.
Well, let us know how we can help with connections, or if you need translations, interpreters, we have lists. It's quite difficult to get some of the, you've got 92 as of March of this year. So I don't know what it is now, but I'm estimating that of those 7,020 students, that there's more, because the list, you know how it just is all over the place, from brand new beginners to pretty advanced, but the parents still are not able to understand. And also, and I'll cut it short, remember the COVID book? It's translated to 24 languages. And I think that helps parents to cope with some of the stress, to be able to talk to the students, to their children, especially the preschoolers, about the COVID book, about the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
Scooter just texted and said, all the schools coordinating.
Yes. So to get your Chromebook, the individual schools are coordinating with families. So if for some reason someone does not have one, first step is to communicate with their individual school. If they have trouble due to language or any other issue, they're welcome to get in touch with me, and I will get them hooked up. All right. Well, I'm gonna stop talking. Thank you guys for having me.
I had a question. So,
Sure.
what do you think will be the main issues of being successful with this?
That is a
There's
good
so
question.
many.
Yeah, probably. You know, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, but I can say that we're working the best we can to try to eliminate the barriers that students are going to run up against. You know, we are differentiating the instruction, and teachers are getting the training right now to figure out how they can best reach students in this virtual platform. And we're trying to eliminate that technology gap and get that equitable access for our students. We're going one-to-one. We're giving out hotspots. So, you know, we're doing this show Face It to try to get the word out in a different platform to make sure families have that information. So it's hard to say, but we're trying to bridge those gaps where we see them.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if you have a central number that would have maybe like a 311 or a 911 number, where parents and students can call and you'd have language line on it. Is that possible for y'all, or do you already have it?
I don't know. I am not sure about that. I can.
Because that might be one of your proposals if they don't.
Yeah.
That they're like the health department, the governor's office, we have that 311
Right.
number for the emergencies. And it has the language line assistance. So, you know, at least they have a way of reaching whoever they need to reach.
Yeah. I don't know how that would work.
They must have it, you know, but if they have a dedicated language line,
Right.
that means that that one number gets sent to everyone. And, you know, it can be, it works for English too. It doesn't exclude our local parents who might have questions. It just means that the availability of interpreters is there. It's like that health department 2222 number, you know, the 899-2222. It's supposed to have language line, and that was something we had to request.
Yeah.
So you know, just don't hesitate to be the one that points it out.
Yeah.
Title VI and all of that.
Yeah. I will
Or-
bring that up at our next meeting.
For families to set up the hotspots and to get the internet, how, like if we get questions about that, what would be the best way to tell people what to do?
They would call our technology department, and technology would get an interpreter. And that is 381-4110.
And they will need to have, I mean, I'm wondering what kind of requirements they need. I mean, they just need to have like that Chrome laptop, or they can do it from their own laptops?
I think it's probably connected to the Chromebooks. And every child, every student's going to receive a Chromebook.
Do they have a, you know, everyone is getting a Chromebook, and I assume that everyone that has a Chromebook has an email address.
Yes.
Do they have a system in place to where they can make sure everyone is getting the understanding and that are, I mean, getting the results that so none will fall behind? I guess it's based on each family, how they correspond with the people that when there are problems, understanding how to reach, how to get answers. Is there a system that the schools has put in place to actually make sure of that?
Just like in-person learning, that first point of contact is going to be their teacher. So communicating with their teachers, you know, and everybody's going to have access through Canvas or Google Classroom to talk to their teachers. They'll have their email address. So they're going to have to reach out to their teacher. And if you don't get a, you know, sufficient answer from a teacher, then you take that up the chain as appropriate. But yeah, just like in person, that teacher is going to be the person that sees the student most.
Thank you, Lindsay, for giving us this update into.
Thank you very much.